Welcome back to another episode of STL Real Estate Roundtable. I'm your host, Jaden Barr, CEO and team leader of Keller Williams Realty Chesterfield. And today I'm joined by a very special guest, Bridget Forbes. Bridget, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So let's dive right in. I start off every episode pretty much the same way, which is what got you started in a career in real estate?
Good question. So I went to school for hotel and restaurant management at Mizzou, and I love that. And I worked in the sports and entertainment industry. So I have worked for the Nashville Predators and the Blues and the Rams. And that was my last one, was the Rams. I did the suites, so all the premium services, the Rams Club, the PSL Club, and the 124 suites that they had. And I loved it. But basically the next step was like, a regional or a GM, and they travel 310 days out of a year. So my husband was like, this is not going to happen. So I either wanted to go into real estate or nursing. And he's like, well, you're not going back to school if we're going to have kids. So let's just look at doing something else. So real estate was it for me. And once I did it, I found it to be incredibly rewarding. And I was fortunate enough to be successful at it.
Yeah. So how long ago was that? When did you get started?
So 22 years ago.
22 years. Okay. So you've seen it all.
I feel like I have.
Most of everything.
Most of everything, right?
That's the funny thing.
A lot of it.
It's always changing, right? And so.
It is. Like after 2008, I was like, we've seen it all. And then, like 2020 came and I was like, no, actually, we haven't seen it all. And it's so interesting even now. When you have those conversations with, newer agents and they're like, I haven't even done a building inspection yet, but they've been an agent for 4 years. And it's just because, the market's been so different, drastically different than anything we've had. So it's been fun.
That's awesome. So you said was your degree in hospitality?
Yeah. Hotel and restaurant management is what that degree was.
Gotcha.
And then I did an emphasis in business.
How has the previous work experience kind of translated over into real estate? Where have you seen that?
I actually think the best real estate agents are either nursing, which is ironic because that was one of my career choices, options, and hospitality people. We work a ton of hours in both of those scenarios. And, it's all about your people skills. You don't always have to know everything, but you have to be there. You have to be consistent and you have to be likable. And I think that those two groups of people, along with teachers, are some of the best real estate agents I've ever seen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bar none.
Absolutely. So take me back to your first year in real estate.
My first year.
What was that first year like? And any big memories from that first year in real estate?
My first year in real estate was so interesting. So I went into basically the commercial multifamily at Realty Exchange my first year. I thought my business, background would help in that scenario. And I did not love it. It's a lot of cold calling. So that was great for my future. I have 3 pieces to my business, which is existing, retail sales. I do a lot of investment sales and I also do infill new construction. Okay. So that first year taught me a lot about those other those 2 pieces, the investment piece and, finding basically those lots for people. So that was great. But I basically only had one sale and it was a restaurant for like $800,000 in my whole first year because it was so hard to break in to the commercial industry when you have no background in it. And then I got into residential and I loved it because I was like, everyone will have change of life, births, deaths, change of life, right? So I took off after that.
That's awesome. Yeah. So catch me up from, after that first year to like where you are today. Like what is that career growth, business growth look like over the years?
Sure. I think just, being consistent helps if you are a systemized person you can really gain some traction. Open houses were extremely successful for me. I usually still to this day get 1 to 3 buyers from every open house I do. But my path basically went from being in that commercial zone. Second year in commercial, I did okay. And then the market started to shift in the commercial market way before 2008 ever happened. So all the lines of credit for the smaller, investors, the 4 families, the 2s and 4 families, or the small strip malls was like just kind of drying up. So I got into residential sales. I loved it. I actually worked for Keller Williams in Kirkwood for quite a while. And then my partner, Diane Denny, actually called when I was at Keller Williams, and we had done a couple deals together. And then I became a buyer's agent with the option to become partners if we worked out the first year. So we went that route, and she is probably the best real estate agent I know. But she was not at all excited about growing a team, and running a business operation and growing a team was something I was very excited about. So we just worked really hard and well together, and it took off from there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so you have a team today?
I do.
Okay.
So I have a relatively small team. It's myself. I have a team manager, Angie Kale, who's been with me for 10 years. She's amazing. I have a contract to close, Julie, and I have a buyer's agent.
Okay.
My biggest of teams has been 8, where I had 3 buyer's agents, and then I had someone that did social media and secretarial stuff as well on the listing side.
Awesome. So a lot of agents, I think, whenever they start to grow, right, they reach, massive levels of production and units. And what I found is agents are either looking for more time or more money, right? And so once you're producing at a high level, the income is coming in, but then you're starting to feel overwhelmed. You have a lot on your plate. And so it's time to look for leverage, and we find leverage through people, systems, and tools. So I'm curious, as like a high producing agent, what's the biggest form of leverage in your business right now?
I probably need more leverage, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm still figuring that out.
I know.
Yeah,
I mean, I know. So, I mean, honestly, finding the next me is probably my next phase, but I actually enjoy being busier. I feel like your systems stay consistent when busier, and everybody is just used to doing everything. So when it's a little bit slower, I think it's kind of harder to keep the same systems up with the whole team. Like, my systems are always good. I'm booked by hour typically. I'm pretty good at budgeting that, but I feel like the team tends to, slack off and take a little more time when they have it. So, but as far as leveraging, that's something I need to work on for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. We all do. With building a team, somebody that's looking to grow a team, it's a whole different aspect to real estate, right? A lot of really successful real estate agents, they're awesome at selling real estate, but then when it comes to actually like leading a team, that's a whole different role, right? So how is that, what have been some of the growth opportunities or challenges been in developing a team, growing a team, leading a team, all those things?
So that's where I feel like I hit my stride. So I'm really good at creating systems, putting teams together. When I was in food and beverage, I had, 250 employees on one side of the building and 300 on the other, with several layers of supervisors and management underneath me. So it wasn't hard for me to grow the team or create the systems by any means. I think the hardest thing for me was, once I had enough business that I was, wanting to get the next buyer's agent and add a second one, and then, add another layer to the listing side, it was letting go, which I think a lot of agents have a hard time with. Like, if you find what works for you, it's not going to work for everybody. So 2 important things are to hire your deficit and to find out what theirs are, and their strengths, and then get them to run their businesses within yours with their strengths and not just believe that there's just one flat system for everyone, because there isn't. Like some people kill it at open houses, some people kill it in structure, like you kill it with this. So everybody's got their niche and something that will make them successful, and finding that's like really a key, I think, of running a team, finding where they succeed and helping them get to that place.
Yeah. I think the cool thing about running a real estate business is it's really not that complicated. It's talk to people about real estate and you're going to get a lot of opportunities, but you have to talk to people, and that comes in a lot of different ways, right? There's so many different ways to grow your business. It's just pick one and be consistent with it over time. And my advice to agents is always pick something that you enjoy doing that you're going to actually stick with, right? So if that's, if you love to golf, go golfing, book a tee time with 3 other people and that you don't know, and by the end of the round, you've got 3 new people added to your database, right? So it doesn't have to be cold calling, although some people love that. Some people love doing open houses. Some people love door knocking. It's just you kind of have to find your thing that plays to your strengths, like you said, and really do the work.
And I think that's fun too, is just finding people out and how they work and what will work for them successfully. And the goal is like your average buyer agent will be with you for 3 years. And I've had several for 10 years. I had one for 14 years. And I love them. But it is really exciting to see them like get to the point where it's like, gosh, they're 50-50. You're ready to go on your own, and that's exciting to see too. Because I get to see all my real estate babies out there killing it as well.
Yeah, right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So what is kind of like the vision for the next 12 months, 24, 36 months for the team, for the business?
That's a good question. So this year I told myself I would not say no. And this is something that is highly uncomfortable for me.
You're crushing it.
I don't like to be in front of a camera. I don't always love to speak in front of big groups, although I've taught a lot of classes through the years. So I just told myself, you know what, not to bring religion in it, but God works in mysterious ways. So I'm just not going to say no to anything that kind of comes my way. So I appreciate the opportunity. And, I think that, that's something that I will grow upon as far as the next 12 months. What I'm looking for in the next 5 years is I probably will just try to grow the team back up again. We've been inventory low for so long that my team didn't need necessarily to be as big, but I see that shift happening. So I'm getting excited about growing the team again. And then, eventually finding that person that I want to grow to hone to be, the next me, like Diane found me, and I'm hoping to find that next person. So, and then also trying to leverage myself so that I have other income coming in other than what I'm doing.
Right. Right. Well, I appreciate you stepping outside of your comfort zone and saying yes to this, because that's really the whole point behind this podcast, is to highlight, some of the top agents in our local market, and you're definitely one of them. So I think somebody out there watching is going to see you say, this is outside my comfort zone, and I'm saying yes to it, and they're going to do the same. So
well, I hope so.
You're leading the way, leading by example, right? So that's awesome. Okay. So let's talk about what you're seeing in the market today and kind of what you're predicting for the next 12 months in 2026. Have you noticed a shift? Have you noticed changes? Like, what is somebody that's been in the industry for 20 plus years? What are you noticing?
So good questions. I do feel like there's been a shift. I mean, currently, although I'm lucky enough to be really busy in this pocket of time, I feel like I've noticed the market has slowed down in the amount of offers that you're getting. It's no secret that showings have been down 30%. Basically it started in 2020, but it's down 30% from last year. I see the market shifting in the fact where we're going to start to see it normalize or level off, where it won't be such a seller's market. And in my opinion, that's good for everyone. It's never really terrible, I guess, if you have where it's a listing heavy or, it's a buyer's market or it's a seller's market, because you win on one side and you kind of lose on the other. But when it's normalized, I think you see, a few things stay on the market a little longer. It helps your skill level. It helps, when you're teaching or training agents, because you can work on a listing and it's not just going to sell in a weekend. So it's getting creative. It's spending money on marketing. It's, qualifying what the opportunities are in every house and how you can fix those or overcome them. And that to me is kind of just the fun part of real estate, is always looking outside that box and, where can I make this become a yes, for someone. So
it's awesome. Yeah. I think, I don't think we're going to see a huge increase in like number of transactions in 2026. I think it's probably going to be pretty similar to 2025. So I think, you probably have to work a little more and work a little harder for the business that you're getting. And the agents that do, like, the cream always rises to the top, right? And so the agents that are willing to do the work are going to be rewarded for it.
Absolutely. I feel like now more than ever, going back to the basics is really important. So it's not just about the, mass marketing, of which I do, and it's not just about the farming, of which I do, but it's about, the personal relationships and, having those and caring for your clients and, giving those special touches to them throughout the years and saying thank you, that grows your business as well. And I think that becomes more important in the age and stage where you see big internet companies trying to basically take over a market. People are going to want that human contact. And so you better be the one contacting your people. So,
or else somebody else is, because your people are probably in somebody else's database too, right?
Absolutely. So, there's like, how many real estate agents do you know? I mean, everybody knows a few. So
the stat is, it's crazy. I think it's like the average person knows 13 realtors.
Is it really?
And so,
gosh, isn't that so wild?
And what's even crazier is the data came out. I think it was the average buyer interviewed 2 agents. The average seller only interviewed 1. Like 92% interviewed 1 agent.
Really?
88% interviewed 2 agents, I think, on the buy side. So it's like, you don't have to be the most knowledgeable, the most skilled. That's what I tell agents. I'm like, you don't have to know it all. You just got to be the first person to the table, and odds are you're going to get hired,
I always tell like my new agents that come on or, to the team, like, you don't have to be great. You just have to be there.
Yeah.
You have to get out and,
place right
exactly what you were saying, like, it doesn't matter what you do, whether you golf or, I actually had a guy buyer's agent that loved to go get pedicures, and he would put his cards everywhere, and he would like talk to all the ladies around, and he really like got a lot of business off of just going to take self-care. And I was like, I love this.
Yeah.
I mean, in fact, I would because I never go to the same place. So I would go and I'm like, oh, that a boy, he's already been here.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Adding it to my business plan, 2026.
I know, right? There. Get more pedicures.
That's great.
The ladies love it.
That is awesome. So, looking at your business, right, where you've built it to the point that it's at today, like, what are you most proud of?
I think leading with integrity. When you do a lot of business, there's just the more business you do, the bigger the problems, right? The larger the deal size, the bigger, the, I guess, money that's on the table for the things that have to happen. And I've just watched so many people compromise, their integrity in order to close a deal. And I just don't think you have to do that. You can be absolutely honest, and you can teach people to do that. And there's no reason that you can't do a ton of business by doing that. So I think I'm most proud of that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
People I've trained.
That's awesome. Yeah. I think some of the best deals I've ever done are the ones I haven't. Right.
Oh, yeah.
And so being okay with walking away from, maybe a client that doesn't respect your boundaries or doesn't align with you from a values perspective, it's okay to say no, right? Even though all you're doing is saying yes, right? It's okay to say no. And
yes. In those instances, of course.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What questions have I not asked you that I should have asked you?
I don't know.
What's been the
This
key
is
to your
my first
success?
podcast. I feel like you're more experienced than I am.
No way. No way. What do you think has been the key to your success over the years? You've seen a lot of changes, right? So navigating
Yes.
change, I guess, what's your mindset when it comes to whether it be changes in the market, changes in the industry?
I love it. I love every bit of it. I was built for this industry. When we had recently, right, in this last year where we had all these contract changes and the MLS changed and everything else and everybody was complaining. And, I felt like there were a lot of people that were getting out of the business or, threatening to. And I was like, it's just another thing we have to figure out. And for me, that's what gets my mind going. It's what gets me up in the morning. And I absolutely love change. And I think people just need to, buckle up and get into it. And then I would say that my key to success with that is I'm fortunate enough to have a lot of business. So I get to see just on a personal side how much the market shifts. And so having that base of knowledge walking into those listing calls, it's not about, oh, I've done this many deals or I sell this much real estate. I'm like, I can sell your house and these are the things that you need to do in order to sell it.
Mm-hmm.
And I can promise you I'll get you more money than anybody else. And I don't feel bad about saying it. I'm unapologetic about it.
That's awesome. Yeah, walking in with that confidence is great, right? Yeah, I think when you accept that life is difficult, life is hard, it makes everything easy. Right?
Yes, right?
Whenever you can just say, hey, yeah, it's supposed to be hard.
Right?
Right? Who said it was going to be easy, right? And then
It's going to be riding rainbows for the rest of our lives.
Yeah. What do you think, if you were to give advice to an agent that's looking to get to the level that you're at, what advice would you give them?
Great question. So if you're starting out new, I think a good thing to do is never say no. Mm-hmm. And do the things like you had said, get into really finding out what your strength is and where you can pick up business, and try it everywhere. And as far as like an agent that's just trying to get to the next level, systems. And I guess really, I think adding a buyer's agent is the cheapest way for you to grow your business. And it's the scariest jump I think most people have. They give you new ideas. You give them new ideas. You both grow together. Mm-hmm. And you can farm out some simple jobs admin wise before you hire a full-time, admin type of person to your team. They're expensive. They're not always money making, although they'll give you leads. But in general, their job is to clock in, clock out, get a task done. So to grow your business, I think buyer's agents are key. Yeah,
I agree. I think starting with like the admin operations support to make sure your systems are lined up and they're tight.
Yes.
Then once you add the buyer's agent, they also have leverage for those systems, for those operations. Because the thing that I think is frustrating for a lot of buyer agents out there is that they join a team, but then the systems aren't in place. And so they're running around like crazy, just like you were. And then you're both running around crazy. It's not saving anybody time or energy.
Yes.
Because you're both just kind of tossed to the wind. Right. So, having those systems in place, whether it be through, admin support, transaction management, different things like that. That way your buyer's agent has that leverage to go to, I think is definitely key. But yeah, I think figuring out what do I enjoy doing? What do I not enjoy doing? And what are things that take up a lot of time that I could easily give to somebody else to do if they just had a system for it?
Right. And when you do have those systems, like I said, you can ad hoc some of those admin simple tasks in chunks where you're not hiring your own admin. Eventually that's the goal, right? Is to have a full functioning team so that everything's interiorly done and you're not kind of farming things out small, like little pieces. But you can find that along the way, and usually with agents in front of you in your office. It's like, who wants to make money today?
Yeah.
And they can do something for you. But, having those systems and the buyer's agents, getting them out there. And, I think a lot of people have a hard time and they look at it the wrong way. I think they look at it like, gosh, I don't want to give my business away. But if you can give up a little to a buyer's agent plus them, bringing in business, it also allows you to go out and do, like, I love listings. I love selling houses. And so it freed me up to continue to grow. Right. Yeah. Like when I met Diane, we were doing like she was doing 29 million. And then we went up to 55 million because we could add the buyer's agents and add the team and, get it to the place where we wanted it to be. And I loved it. And, we'll just kind of continue on that path.
Yeah, absolutely. This might be an edgy question. So you love business and you love work, right? How do you unplug from what is the real estate lifestyle of always being on call 24/7? Like, how do you kind of disassociate between, okay, this is work and this is
fun,
personal?
Well, two things. Number one, the busier I am, the better my systems are and the fuller my team is. So I actually get more scheduled time off than I do when it's slower. And a lot of people don't realize that. So when it is really busy, my team will carry somewhere between 20 and 50 houses for sale at any given time. In this market, I kind of did that same amount of sales and only had somewhere between 3 and 8 listings at a time because they were selling so quickly. So when it's slower, I tend to work more, but I really do block out family time. And I just say, okay, I'm unavailable from now, from this point to this point. I may not get as much of it. I mean, the goal is really to try to unplug for an entire day and then have a half day off somewhere else in between that week. So I used to try to do Wednesdays and Saturdays, and I would get it when I have a busy full team. And when I don't, I probably tend to work a little more if you ask my kids. But we also have like a little lake place that we like to go and get away and hang out with the family. And then my kids all play sports. So that's always a fun getaway too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How many kids do you have?
I have 4.
4? Okay.
Yeah.
How old are they?
So I have a 22-year-old at law school. I have a 19-year-old at the zoo. And I have a junior at Lindbergh High School. And
Awesome. So close together then?
Yes.
Junior and sophomore?
Yeah.
Pretty close? Okay. I'm about to enter
twins, but not quite.
I'm about to enter the 2 under 2 stage. So it's
so fun.
Yeah.
But crazy.
Yeah.
It's mayhem.
Yeah. We'll see. Like any day now. So let's see.
That's so exciting.
Yeah. Okay. So, I think one thing that's really underemphasized is agent to agent relationship, right? I can think back to countless deals that I've done where my relationship with the agent on the other side of the transaction is what got my client
the deal.
And so I think that would be a huge, that'd be something I'd like to touch on, is just like doing things like this, right? We had never met before sitting down right now.
Yes.
But I hopefully the next time I call on one of your listings, right, that's a good interaction, right? So I think that's something that not a lot of agents think about. They just think about their database and who their clients are and things like that. And they kind of neglect the aspect of building relationships outside of their own office, outside of their brokerage.
I agree. I think that's an excellent point. And it's never been more important than the last 5 years in real estate out of the entire 22 years I've done that. So, when I say leading with integrity, I think people understand that. And so when we're working together, I respect agents, whether you've done one deal or you've done, 3,000. It doesn't matter to me. It's about just getting through the deal. And everybody wants the same thing. The buyer wants to buy, the seller wants to sell. We're just trying to represent our client. So when you do create those good relationships, I think it is awesome. And it has come in, tenfold when you have, especially those times when you had, 15 and 20 contracts and they're like, well, Bridget will get the deal done, or so will her team. And I think it's always important to have a good rapport, like you said. I tend to find that sometimes newer agents, they're fighting so hard for their client that they are just like, kind of boxing the other agent. And it's like, you know what? They're just trying to do the same thing you are. So work with them and, like try to be as nice as possible, because I've definitely won more contracts than not in this last 5 years because of the name that I have in the business with the agents that I've done business with.
Right.
And I appreciate them too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Reputation precedes you, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So last question.
Sure.
What's the most impactful book or podcast that you've read or listened to?
Probably Never Split the Difference.
Never Split the Difference?
Yeah.
Okay. That's great.
Yeah. So I don't read a ton, but I will put an audiobook in here or there, but it's mostly for pleasure.
There we go. I'm audiobooks all day. Like 2x speed. And my wife gets so upset. She's like, that is not even reading. I'm like,
oh, but you're
it's reading,
right?
It's reading.
I like to put them on, like, and do it on the treadmill. And I love the double time speed. I'm really super ADHD, which I think has been a gift in this business. But yeah, you can plow through a book with like no problem when you're just listening to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. The irony in that is I was listening to a book called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry.
Okay.
And I was listening to it at 2x speed. So there's a little bit of irony there. Right.
Like, don't hurry, but read it as fast as possible.
Let's go. Can we go quicker? Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time.
I appreciate it. This was
keep crushing in business and keep putting yourself in situations where you're not the most comfortable, right?
Right.
Absolutely. I think you crushed it.
Oh,
let's go.
Thanks. I appreciate it. And hopefully we do some business together.
There we go. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right. We'll catch you on the next episode.